The New York Knicks have made their blockbuster trade. What does this look like for the Knicks for this year and going forward? Let's talk about it. And well, welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm WattsUK99. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch these videos. Quick reminder, we go live every Wednesday night. This week is our final Wednesday night show at 10 p.m. And then starting July 3rd, we go on the air at 6 p.m. Be sure to tune in. Well, let's get right into the topic of the day, and that is the New York Knicks. As I recorded, they made the trade one day ago for Mikal Bridges, and the NBA draft is Wednesday and Thursday night. The Knicks needed to make some adjustments despite having a very good roster. They needed some wings. They needed some outside players to match up with the Boston Celtics, the best team certainly in the Eastern Conference, and probably the best team in the league as they just won the NBA title. Now, the thing is, the fact that the Knicks were able to make this trade for Bridges to complete the Nova Knicks, like all four Villanova superstars in Brunson, DiVincenzo, and Hart, and Bridges, it is amazing to me the Knicks were ever able to make this trade with the Nets of all teams. And you know the Nets had no desire to ever trade Bridges to New York, but Bridges made it clear he was going to make it crystal clear. He wanted to be a Knick. He wanted to reunite with his Wildcat teammates. So the trade is this. Let's break it down. Here's what the Knicks are sending. 4 unprotected first-round picks in 2025, 27, 29, and 31, because you cannot trade first-round picks in consecutive years. They're trading a 2025 protected first from the Milwaukee Bucks. There's also a 2028 pick swap where the Nets will have the option to swap picks with the Knicks if they so desire. And the Knicks are also trading a 2025 second-round pick for Bridges and a 2026 second-round pick. So no question, it's a lot on the surface to give up. But if the Knicks play the way that we expect them to, these picks are going to be in the mid to late 20s, possibly even in the 30s. Now, you could get some good players at the end of the first round, but how often do you really get franchise-changing players with the final 5-10 picks of the first round or anywhere in the second? You know, they're basically lottery tickets. The bottom line is this. If you are a franchise that doesn't know how to scout, doesn't know how to evaluate talent, and doesn't know how to develop those players, then of what use are those picks really going to be in many cases? So a little dive into just who is Mikal Bridges. He played his first 4 years in the NBA with Phoenix, who then traded him to the Nets as part of the 4-team blockbuster. It was centered around Kevin Durant in February of 2023. It's amazing to think that's only been 16 months since that trade happened. But Bridges was Brooklyn's best player during that time, averaged 26.1 points in 27 games the remainder of the year. But as the Nets' primary player last year, the numbers dipped. He averaged 19.6 points in 82 games. Still nothing to sneeze at, though. But one thing about Bridges that you got to love, he's durable. He has played 474 straight games to start his career. That is the longest streak in the NBA over the last 40 years. He is one of 4 players with 1,500 points, 153 pointers, and 75 steals in each of the last 2 years. The other 3 who did that, Luka Doncic, Anthony Edwards, and Jason Tatum. And defensively, he's as good a player as you could want. So there are 50 NBA players who have contested at least 2,500 shots in the last 3 years. All right, 50 players. Bridges has the 5th best mark of that group with shooting percentage allowed. He has allowed 42.9% shooting as the contesting defender during that time. So he often draws the other team's best player, and he holds them to under 43% shooting. That is really, really good. Now, there are plenty of critics. The critics, the cynics will say, well, he's never been an all-star. It's not about that. He is not coming to the Knicks needing to on the team. It's about chemistry. It's about building a team that could win an NBA championship. And these players won 2 championships together in Villanova. So I would tell you that Mikal Bridges is worth more to the Knicks than he would be any other team in the NBA. And if it wasn't Bridges, let me ask this question. If they didn't bring in Bridges, what superstar were the Knicks going to bring in to pair with Jalen Brunson to take them to the next level? Who's it going to be? An AARP eligible LeBron James, Paul George, who's aging like milk at this point? Bridges was the best realistic player that they could bring in. He just was. All right, now to the contract situation, because this is what it's going to be all about. What can the Knicks fit under the ever-rising salary cap? Well, Bridges, over the next 2 years of his deal, final 2 years of his deal, is owed $23.3 million and then $24.9 million, so a little over $48. All right, he's eligible to sign a 2-year extension on October 1st of this year, and he can extend for an additional 3 years, $113 million. So that can happen, but clearly what the Knicks need to do first is see if Jalen Brunson will agree to that 4-year deal worth just under $40 million a year. If not, then he could sign a 5-year contract after next year. The NBA has a lot of weird contract rules, but if you're a Knicks fan, you got to hope Jalen is willing to take a little bit less money and get the security now and sign the 4-year extension that he's going to be eligible to sign come July. All right. But the Knicks going forward, to me, are as legitimate of a championship contender that they have been since certainly the start of this millennium. Just think about if you're an opponent and you see the Knicks across from you, what are you going to do? Your point guard has to take care of Jalen Brunson. Good luck with that. Your wings are being covered by Mikal Bridges and oganunoby. Your center is trying to rotate to, Brunson driving the lane and putting up his floater while keeping Mitchell Robinson off the glass. And your power forward isn't strong enough to handle Julius Randle, and he isn't fast enough to guard Randle shooting from the outside. It's crazy. And I didn't even get into Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart and what they could do as well. Man alive, this team has the chance. They're not a complete team, but they have a chance to be something. Now, I mentioned 2 wild cards when I was going through that little speech. Julius Randle and oganunoby. Now, Randle is under contract, but he costs $28.9 million this year. And then next year, he has a player option for $30.9 million. It's going to be very interesting if Randle chooses to opt in to that player option. Now, there are rumors that the Knicks might dangle that contract as possible trade bait. To me, the Knicks do need some size. I don't think he's going anywhere, especially with isaiahhartenstein, a free agent at center. So to me, the Knicks can't rely on just Mitchell Robinson being their only sizable player. And when Randle was out, let's be honest, the spacing was good. It had the game had good flow to it, but they missed his size. They missed his outside shooting for sure. And the Knicks are still very determined to keep oganunoby. When he was over here and he was healthy after that trade with Toronto, Anunoby was a dominant player and the Knicks were a dominant team. It made the rest of the league stand up and take notice that the Knicks were not just a playoff team, but a legit contender. But OG was able to opt out of his deal. It was going to be a $19.9 million option. I can't blame him for doing that, especially when he could potentially get twice that much money on the open market. And free agency starts on June 30th, so on Sunday. Now, I expect OG back because the Knicks can pay him more money than any other team can. If you care about these types of things, one of Leon Rose's sons is one of his agents. Maybe that helps. Maybe it doesn't. Who knows? But I do think the Knicks are going to keep him, and they're going to overpay because OG has all the leverage, and he's going to want every last dollar. $40 million a year would not surprise me because the Knicks traded a lot to get him in Barrett and Quigley. But the durability does scare me. How healthy can he stay? If I had it my way, he would get in the low 30s, but I don't think that that's a realistic scenario at this point. But I am super excited. I mean, Bridges to me is almost like a backup plan in case OG does actually leave. But realistically, I expect Hartenstein to go. I think there'll be other teams like Orlando and Oklahoma City that'll just offer him more money than what the Knicks can, because the Knicks can only offer him $18 million a year, whereas these other teams could offer him an upwards of $20 million a year. So if I had a bet on one player not being back next year, it's Hartenstein. That's my thought. But the Knicks have 3 picks in this draft. They have numbers, I believe, 24, 25, and 38. You can possibly move up a little bit and get a center that you want. If you really like Zach Edey out of Purdue, you could do that. There's also Kyle Filipowski from Duke, a couple other players from Baylor, and some other places as well. Indiana, there's a good center coming out of there too. So we're going to see what happens in this draft, but I think the Knicks get an offensive-minded center, hopefully a good passing center, sort of the Isaiah replacement. I think they target that over the course of the draft. So those are my thoughts. I am very excited about where the Knicks are going. Leon Rose, way to go. Tom Thibodeau, I believe in you, and I believe in this New York Knicks team as much as I have in at least 25 years. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Check out the rest of these videos on the channel, whether you're a Mets fan, Jets, Knicks, Rangers, even soccer. We're even talking about a little Copa America. So we're even doing that. I'll do a recap of USA Panama as well. That game Thursday night. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and I'll see you right back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair.